Okay, so we have the wonderful, amazing Cat Weatherill with us. Yes, and she's an amazing storyteller. I met her a few years back and been very, very fortunate to reconnect again on our trip to the Ukraine, the Alternative Albion Book Festival in the Ukraine. We're just on our way back now from there. So, Kat, how did you find the book festival?
I thought we had a fantastic time.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Yeah,
It's lovely.
really
Really good. Beautiful city, wonderful people, quite inspiring. And what I was impressed at was just how hungry the people were for the books. When they actually opened the doors, these massive tables laden with books. There was about 5 people deep just reaching it. It was like a January sale in Debenhams. They were all just buying. And also, I was really impressed with the standard of the illustration on the book, all the books, but especially on the children's books. Some of the picture books was really exquisite work, but quite quirky. It's not a mainstream illustration, but a real kind of quirky fantasy illustration going on. Yeah, I bought loads of postcards and T-shirts from the young illustrators who were all upstairs on the first floor,
yeah, I saw
all
those.
touting for business, and they were all incredibly talented.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first time I've been away on anything like this before, but you seem to have made a bit of a career out of travelling around the world and such. What sort of places have you been to?
Well, I do a lot of festivals, but what was different about the book arsenal was that it was a combination of book fair plus festival. Normally when I go to festivals, there are a lot of events and there is a book tent, but this two was nicely combined. But I do a lot of storytelling festivals, arts festivals, literature festivals around the world. Or sometimes I go away again on British Council trips where I'm promoting the art of British storytelling abroad.
Awesome. So, like, getting paid to travel the world, enjoy what you do, meet people, get inspired by other people, share your sharing your stories. How did you fall into that? How did that occur? Was it planned? Was there a strategy, or what was your approach to you leading to where you are now?
Well, I always wanted to be a performer. I mean, at university I did drama, and then I moved to London and I did acting, and I became a professional singer as a way of getting an equity card.
Right.
And then I had moved into theatre and education, and it was only that I was given a leaflet to go to a storytelling festival, Beyond the Border Storytelling Festival in Wales, and I went along and I saw people doing it, and it completely blew my mind, and I thought that's what I want to do, because of course the assumption is always that storytelling is for children.
Yeah.
And that was my assumption as I headed for this festival. I thought, it'll be for kids, but I'll give it a go, it sounds nice. And the very first tent I walked into was enormous. It was full of, maybe 300 adults listening to 2 men tell the Odyssey.
Wow.
For 2 hours.
Wow.
And they didn't have costumes, they didn't have props, they didn't have, musical instruments beyond maybe a drum. But they just kept the whole audience enthralled with one story. And I thought, now this is what I would like to do.
Wow, to enthrall audiences.
Yeah. But when it comes to the international work, and you're saying, did I have a plan? I think sometimes the impression people get from following artists on Facebook is that these bookings drop into your lap. But actually there's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
In terms of building your network, reminding people that you are still around, that you are up for it, that you would like to do these things. And it's something that I call practical dreaming, where I try and think where I would like to go, and then how can I actually make that happen.
Right.
I especially wanted to go, for example, to Australia. I can't afford the airfare to Australia, it's a lot of money. And I thought, well, how could I get to Australia? And I just made a list of all the people I'd ever met in Australia, and started writing to them and saying, I'd love to come and see you all. And before I knew it, I had an invitation from Sydney Writers' Festival.
Wow.
Which is one of the best literature festivals in the world.
So proactively making your goals become realities.
I think so, yes. Yes, know where you want to be and then plan how to get there.
And it's interesting because you was working with people that you've already met, so connections that you already had. And it is amazing sometimes who you might have in your inner circle that can unlock an opportunity that can really lead to something amazing.
Well, this is, I think, one of the great things about Facebook as a tool is that you can keep in contact with people you have worked with or people you've met along the way. I've been talking at this festival to someone I met via Facebook, and it looks like I'm going to be doing a book for her.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful. Even if someone in the future just gives you a bed for the night, if you turn up in one of these cities, people to go for with a drink and all these things, and it's so. When you meet people along the way, it might seem ridiculous for you, for example, to stay in touch with someone you've just met in Kiev, but you don't know where that can take you in the future.
Absolutely. Oh, that's been amazing, Kat. Any tips for people starting out with their writing journeys and careers in terms of expectations, maybe, or anything you might be able to, I don't know, suggest for people starting out, or?
I think you have to do what you love, really, and write about stuff that you really care about. Because if you don't care about your story or your poem, why should anyone else care?
Right.
And I think they pick up that kind of apathy even at a subconscious level.
Right.
So what I'm looking for, especially from a performer, is passion. I want to feel that passion, that they're really engaged and interested in what they're saying. I find it very hard to write about something that I'm not interested in. Writing for money, I have turned down offers.
Yes.
Writing certain books I was offered, but the book was already prescribed, and they had the title, and they told me the characters, and they told me the story, and essentially I would just have to join the dots and provide the words. And I have seen that book in the shops, and it would not have been under my name. And I'm so glad I didn't write it. I would have found that very, very difficult. I think you have to put aside the money.
Yes.
Because most of us don't make a great deal of money from the actual written word. It's the other work we do around it.
I see.
That pays the bills.
Yeah, like doing your workshops and things.
The workshops and what else you can offer. But I do think you need to be writing stuff that genuinely engages you, because it's hard work and it takes a long time.
Yes.
So if you're going to be sitting down in the chair for that long, I want to be doing something that actually I find quite good fun.
I hear what you mean. Earlier on, I overheard you talking with Cat Weatherill, who I'm going to be interviewing very shortly, about when it comes to audiences, respecting the audience. And you mentioned a very key word, which is universal, I think, even in business or whichever field, and that's value. Being able to transfer value to whoever it is who are your customers, or your audience to some extent, because obviously people sometimes pay to come and see you as well, and pay tickets and spending their time listening to you and offering that value. Would you like to maybe talk a little bit on that?
I always think if someone is sitting in the audience or has picked up your book and is reading, they are giving you an enormous gift. They are giving you their time and their attention. And so if you stand on stage and you tell a 7-minute story, if you step back a minute and think about it, that person who's listening to you has just given you 7 minutes of their life. That is 7 minutes they will never ever get back. So that's an extraordinarily generous gift. And so the question to ask yourself is, did I give something of value? How did it enrich their life in some way? Which isn't to say that everything has to be like a parable or a fable, but I think you should ask yourself, why? Why am I writing this? And why am I sharing it? Sometimes I do see storytellers up on stage and they're sharing a story, and I'm sitting there completely baffled as to why they thought I might be interested in such a story.
I hear what you're saying.
Because it might be full of cleverness, it might be all very clever up here, but I want to care. You know, that's what would make me care. And it comes back to this passion again.
Yeah.
I want you to make me feel in some way. You know, that's what I'm looking for. So it's a question of value and respecting your audience. I once heard an opera singer say he treats every audience like half of them are seeing him for the first time and the other half are seeing him for the last time.
Wow.
And I thought, what an extraordinary way of approaching an audience in terms of rising up to it and pulling that energy out of that well inside you, which sometimes can be a hard call, you know, if you're tired or if you're feeling sick. You know, this is when being professional is all about being able to find the energy and deliver so your audience would never guess what is going on.
Awesome.
As you're standing at the side of the stage. And I've gone on stage sometimes in extreme pain, you know, with pulled backs and things and tanked up on painkillers. And the audience would never ever guess, and that's what being a pro is about. But you have a responsibility to that audience to deliver, because it might be the one and only time in their life that they get the gift of Kurly McGeechee.
Oh,
you know?
I appreciate that, yeah.
So make sure you give them the best gift you can.
Yeah.
So it could be that one time.
Because I think sometimes it's getting the wrong way around, where they think it's all about them, it's there on stage, the spotlight's on them, and they lack that key ingredient, which is the empathy and that appreciation that, like I say, people giving you their time and their attention first and foremost, and making that a fair exchange in terms of value. So that's incredible advice. So you know, you're hearing from a pro here, people. She knows what she's talking about. She's been around for a while, been around the world. She knows what, so this is so really great advice. I don't know if you want to leave any comments or any last final thoughts. I don't know.
No, I just hope we travel together again, Kurly, to another festival. This is just the beginning.
Oh, okay. Well, you heard it here. You heard it here. Sorry, you didn't hear it here. You heard it here. So thanks, Kat. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And
you're welcome.
Hopefully many more videos to come. All right, take care. Bye for now.